Have you ever just stopped and wondered why English spelling is, well, so completely bonkers? I mean, why through, though, and tough look so similar but sound nothing alike? Well, it turns out there's actually a hidden logic, a secret science underneath it all. So today, we're going to dive in and crack the code of spoken English. So first things first, let's just lay out the problem. Take a super simple sound, like E. In English, we can write that one little sound in at least 7 different ways. You've got C and C, people, key, machine. No wonder it's confusing, right? The letters are sending us totally mixed signals. And believe it or not, the problem goes both ways. Just look at the letter A. That one single letter can stand for a whole bunch of different sounds. Just listen. Dad, father, many, call. So, yeah, the letters on the page, they're not exactly the most reliable guide for the sounds we're actually making. Which brings us to a really big question. If our regular old alphabet is this messy and inconsistent, how on earth are we supposed to capture the reality of spoken language in any kind of scientific way? How do we get past all the chaos? Well, the answer is pretty cool. It's almost like a secret code, a system that wasn't designed for everyday writing, but was built from the ground up for scientific precision. It's called the International Phonetic Alphabet, or the IPA for short. Let's take a look. Okay, I know this might look a little intimidating at first, but the core idea behind it is actually beautiful and simple. To get around the whole mess of spelling, linguists created this system where every single symbol stands for exactly one sound. That's it. One sound, one symbol. No exceptions, no confusion. And this system is the main tool for a field called phonetics, the science of speech sounds. Now, this is a really important point. Phonetics is descriptive. Unlike your old English teacher, it doesn't care about the correct way to speak. It's only interested in describing how people actually talk in the real world. All right, so if we're going to understand this code, we have to start with the basics, right? The building blocks. And to do that, we need to look at how we physically make these sounds with our mouths and our throats. Let me ask you something. Think about the first sound in the word Sue and the first sound in zoo. If you pay attention, they feel almost identical in your mouth, don't they? Your tongue is in the same place, your lips are doing the same thing. So what's the real difference? Okay, time for a little experiment. You gotta do this with me. Just put a couple of fingers lightly on your throat, right over your Adam's apple. First, make a long, hissing s sound. Now, keep your mouth exactly where it is, but switch to a buzzing zzz sound. Did you feel that? That little vibration that just turned on? That buzz you just felt? That's everything. It's called voiceness, and it's just your vocal folds vibrating. The easiest way to think about it is like a little on-off switch in your throat. For the S sound, the switch is off. For the Z sound, you flip the switch on. That is literally the only difference. And once you notice this, you start seeing it everywhere in English. A lot of our consonants come in these neat pairs. You have the voiceless t and the voiced d. You have the voiceless s and the voiced z we just felt. They're partner sounds, and the only thing separating them is that little vibration switch.
Okay, so we've got the building blocks, but here's where it gets really interesting. We don't speak in isolated sounds. We speak in a continuous flow, a stream. And when words start bumping up against each other in a sentence, the sounds themselves start to change in really predictable ways.
Think about a super common phrase, something you've said or heard a million times, like, next please. Just say it out loud naturally, how you'd actually say it. Now, let's be real for a second. Did you really pronounce that hard T sound in the middle of next? My guess is probably not. Most of the time, in the flow of conversation, it just comes out sounding like, next please. So where did the T go? Did it just vanish into thin air? This thing has a name. It's called elision. It's just the fancy word for dropping sounds when we talk. And listen, it's not a mistake and it's not lazy. It's our brain being super efficient. Our mouths are taking a shortcut to make a really awkward pileup of consonants way easier and faster to say. And I promise you, now that you know what this is, you are going to hear it everywhere. We say old man, not old man. We say axe, not acts. And seriously, when was the last time you heard someone carefully pronounce the th sound in clothes? This is a huge part of what makes speech sound natural and fluent. And here is the big aha moment. What do you think happens when one of these shortcuts, this elision, gets used by everybody for centuries? Well, it becomes permanent. And that is exactly what a silent letter is. The T in listen, the K in knife. People used to pronounce those sounds, but over time, they disappeared from our mouths, even though they got fossilized in our spelling.
But hold on, there is one more crucial layer to this secret code. It's not just about the individual sounds. There's also a kind of music to our speech, a pattern of rhythm and pitch that carries a massive amount of meaning.
One of the most powerful parts of this music is something called stress. This is where we can take the exact same word with the exact same spelling, and by just changing which part we emphasize, we can completely change what it means.
Here's the perfect example, the word record. If I say record with the stress on the front, it's a noun. It's a thing you listen to. But if I say record and put the stress on the back, now it's a verb. It's an action. Same letters, different music, completely different words. How cool is that?
And this musical quality, which we call intonation, works for whole sentences too. I mean, look at this. You can literally see the music of someone asking a question. That rising curve at the end is the melody that signals to our brains, hey, this is a question. It's an entire layer of meaning that is completely invisible when you just read the words on a page. So that kind of leaves us with a final thought. If our traditional spelling is just the blueprint for a house, and our actual living speech is the finished building itself, then how much of the real structure, the life, the music of our language, do we miss out on when we only ever pay attention to the plans on the page?